Welcome back, and thank you for joining me at Mrs.G's Parenting Help Desk. Our topic today is why you don't want an obedient child. An obedient child is a child who grows up listening to outside voices instead of knowing how to make good decisions for themselves. I'm starting this series because I feel that there's a great need to help parents, teachers, and caregivers navigate age-appropriate expectations for children's behaviors and developmental milestones. I believe that our hearts are in the right place. We need to have a better understanding of child development for us to do our best job with our children. Okay. Children are counting on us. I'm a parent, teacher, and social worker who has learned along the way and am now a grandparent. There are no perfect families. To quote Oprah, when we know better, we do better. And so this phrase, we don't want obedient children. I did not create that phrase. I heard it about 18 years ago when I was watching a segment of 2020. And yes, that show is still around. It's been around for a long time. And in this segment, John Stossel was interviewing a couple who were both working and had two children, a 4-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl. And so, just like parents today, having the issues of dealing with children when they are both working and having the time and energy and not feeling too tired and exhausted. And so, yes, he was the one who said that we don't want an obedient child, because an obedient child ends up listening to an outside voice instead of listening to their own inner voice. Okay, they listen to the outside voice because they are in fear of consequences should they make their own decision. Okay, and what do those consequences look like? Okay, so if you were that child's mom or dad, maybe you're yelling, maybe you're hitting, or taking away your love and attention. Whatever that looks like to a child who is feeling fearful in making their own choices. So then what do we want? Okay, if we don't want an obedient child, then what do we want? You want a child that is age-appropriately respectful and can make good decisions as they grow. You want them to be creative, you want them to be imaginative, you want them to be able to explore and find out things for themselves. Okay, and so then how do you appropriately help children make good decisions? Okay, so I have a few ideas on this, and so the first one is giving children choices. Okay, we saw that on the video. In the one situation, dad is exhausted. He's trying to get his son up in the morning. He's got to get to work, and he's got to get his child dressed and ready and out the door. Okay, and so there's a struggle. So you can imagine what that looks like. He said a way to correct that, make that better, is have the child choose what he's going to wear the night before. All right, so it wasn't mom and dad putting the clothes out and waiting for the child to get dressed. It's giving the child a choice of maybe 3 different outfits the night before, where you have maybe a little extra time. And now the child chooses the favorite top, the favorite pair of pants or shorts, and the child is feeling good about themselves because mom and dad have given him that choice. He feels like his voice has been heard, given him some power, and that he's a member of this family. So when he wakes up in the morning, he's ready to jump into what he has already decided he's going to wear. And as the parents stated that, or as dad stated, that did help when he tried that. Okay. And of course, when we talk about giving children choices, we're making sure these are all safe choices that we are giving. If we're talking about a 3-year-old, we're not giving them the choice to decide when it's a good time to cross the street. Okay? So we are assuming whatever choices we are giving the child, they are safe choice. Number one is that we have a safe environment for a child when they're making good decisions. In addition to that, once the child has made their choice, don't question their choice. Don't ask, well, why did you make that choice? Was that the best choice? All right? Because then you add doubt and uncertainty to the child when they felt really good about the choice they just made. Okay? All right, so maybe the clothes didn't match. Okay? But they felt power in choosing that. Okay? And so you questioning that makes them feel insecure. It affects their self-esteem. And as we go on to more parenting videos, we'll know the importance of self-esteem throughout a childhood. Okay, and so you are questioning their self-esteem, and now they no longer have that confidence now to feel comfortable making maybe a slightly bigger decision in the future. Okay? And so rather than question those decisions, let them feel the natural consequence of that decision. Because there was another part in Mr. Bledsoe's video, the 2020 video, that now we have mom arguing with the 4-year-old boy. Okay, so I guess the weather had changed. So maybe we went to from spring weather to hot weather, the summer weather. And now mom is arguing with the 4-year-old boy to put shorts on. He wants to wear pants. Okay, so please know that children of this age, like between 2 and 5, they have a need for consistency. They have a need that their world is staying the same. And so in this moment, this boy has the need for consistency. He's keeping on his long pants. He can't quite see beyond that to the hot weather. But there is a big argument as mom is trying to get him to wear the shorts. Don't know how that played out in the end, but we know that there was a big argument. All right, but that could have all been avoided if mom would have just been okay with his choice to wear pants. His need in the moment was to keep things the same. Okay. Once he went outside to that 90-degree weather, he will feel the consequence of his choice, of his decision, that, wow, I think mom was right. This really is too hot. I am feeling very uncomfortable. And the next time mom suggests possibly that I might want to wear shorts, I'm going to wear shorts. All right? But now it's the child who had the power of that. Okay, and so the next one is giving praise. Making sure that we give praise to a child with them making decisions. Okay, and so that's important. That raises a child's confidence, their self-esteem. We know for ourselves that raises our own confidence and self-esteem. When we hear a negative comment, that can lower it really quickly, right? Even as adults, we have experienced that, and we know how much that can lower our self-esteem in the moment, and it's something that can stick with us. Okay, a phrase that I have had in my classroom is, for every one negative criticism that you give, then you need to give 10 compliments. So that's how much it takes to override that negative criticism. And even then, it might still hang around, in the back of our minds. Okay, so please be mindful of the words that fall out of our mouths that can be negative, and be mindful of the positive things that you want to say to a child. Okay, so that be mindful to ignore the negatives, because those can have a great impact on children. And so that we want to remember to give praise to children, no matter how small. Okay, no matter how small. When we think of a 3-year-old child who's using the word please and thank you or sorry. Okay, that's not something that comes natural to them. Okay, that's something that they have seen adults do. Okay, and so unless they have seen it in their social environment, they don't know to do it. And so it's important that although that's kind of an assumption that we assume children do, we need to praise them when they do it. All right? So when they say please to you and thank you, compliment them. Oh, what nice manners you have. You just said please, you said thank you. Or if they say sorry to another child, okay, that's not something that you told them to do. They just came up with that. Okay, we want to reinforce those things, and praise can reinforce that. All right. So please be mindful of the words that come out of our mouths. Last idea, last but not least, okay, that as adults we need to model appropriate behavior. We have to remember what's coming out of our mouths. Okay, what actions are we taking? Okay, if you are throwing things, if you are hitting, if you are yelling, you will see this behavior being acted out in your children. Okay, maybe it won't be towards you, but it's going to be towards other children or maybe other adults. So we have to be mindful, and this might be the hardest thing for us adults. So the do as I say, not as I do is very poignant right here. Okay? Be mindful of what you are saying and what you are doing. It will be mimicked. Okay? Like it's on videotape. Right? We want to change that to do as I say and do. That we need to be mindful of both what we say and do. Okay? Yes, this might be the toughest part, us adults, always watching those words, watching those actions that we do. And just to give you an example of that, in a preschool setting that I had, a preschooler was using a little girl, a sweet little girl, and she was probably about 3 years old. And so now a couple high school students are coming over to me, and I think it might have even been a preschooler came over and said, she's using bad language. Now, what do you think they expected me to do? They expected me to go over there and correct that child in whatever ways they thought was appropriate, yelling at the child or saying that's bad, don't do that again. Okay? And that's not what I did. I explained to them that these are words the child has heard before. Not her fault that she is using them here in the preschool. And where did she hear them from? Well, it's the adults in her environment. We're going to assume it's the family members in her household. So as family members, we need to be mindful that foul language is being heard by our children. So sometimes that falls out of our mouths pretty easily, right? But it's being mimicked in another setting at preschool. And so no, I did not go over and yell at the child or discipline the child. I explained to the child that we don't use those words in preschool, and that was not her fault that she was using those words. She heard those words someplace else. We don't want an obedient child. We want a child who has practiced making small decisions for him or herself throughout childhood in a safe environment to become a teenager and an adult who is confident in making big decisions. Thank you for watching Mrs. G's Parenting Help Desk. Please remember, I also do one-on-one consultations to help families with their parenting issues and guiding children's behavior. Please follow the link below for more information, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos on guiding children's behavior. Thank you. Bye-bye.